Okay, so this is the Dutch lace headband braid into the low bun. So this is the first one that we've learned. So the first thing I'm gonna do is brush her hair out so there's no tangles in it. And then you want to wet the top of her hair a lot so it looks like she's just come out of the shower. Okay? And then I'm gonna kind of comb it back towards me in my direction so we can start the part. It'll be easier to get the part if you do it, if you comb it. Maybe put your head over this way. Okay, if you look over here on this ear, if you put your finger like about 1 finger length above her ear here, right about there is where we're gonna start our part. So our part is not on the ear. So if you can see how much of that is off of the ear, it's about a finger's width off of the ear. And you want to have the part about 1.5 to no more than 2 inches right at the very thick of it right here. You can manipulate this part later if you figure, if your daughter, if you find that she doesn't have enough hair like on the sides to braid or whatever, we can figure it out later, but that's the general rule we're going with right now. And you're gonna take your part and it's gonna go straight across. And you can kind of check, now that's way too much hair because that's not about 2 inches. So I'm gonna go back over here and I'm going to take a lot less hair into my part. And I'm just using the very tip of my fine tooth comb here. I still think that's too much hair there. So I'm going to keep going until I feel like I've got about 1.5 to 2 inches of a section of hair in the front, and I think that one is probably going to be good. So you bring your part all the way over and you're going to end your part right behind her right ear. So if you can see where the part is, it's just right, maybe even on the top of her ear, that's fine. But you are going to take that all the way over to her ear. So on the left ear, it's about 1 finger's width above her ear, and on the right ear, it's right to the very top or maybe even right behind her ear. So that's gonna be your part. And we're gonna go ahead and comb this part back. It will help to stay out of the way when you're braiding this section in front. And then just stick it in a ponytail for now. And you have your section of hair in the front that you're gonna be braiding with. Now this is called a Dutch lace braid because the braid will be inside out, but you're only adding hair from one side of this braid. And that's what makes it a lace braid. So again, you wanna go back, get it really, really wet. It's a lot easier to braid when it's wet, all the way down. Comb it out. Tilt your head this way. And again, you need to have a really good fine tooth comb. That definitely helps when you're trying to braid. Now when we're gonna braid this, we're gonna try to cover up this part here or get as close to it as possible if it's not covered up. So in order to do that, we're gonna start with a section, a very tiny section over here. A very, very tiny section about this big of hair, okay? When you have this section of hair, you're going to divide it into 3 pieces, and again, this will be very small amounts of hair, little hair. Divide it into 3 pieces, and we're going to be braiding this, right now we're gonna be braiding back towards yourself. So even though the braid looks like it's going this way, we're going to be braiding it and pulling it back towards ourselves so that we can braid right along that part line. So we have our 3 sections of hair, and a Dutch braid is where you take the outside pieces and you cross them underneath the middle pieces, okay? So I'm gonna start with the left side, and I'm gonna take this left side and I'm gonna cross it underneath the middle side so that my middle section now becomes my left section. And then I'm gonna go to the right side and I'm gonna cross it underneath my middle section so that my middle section has now become my right side. Now, again, this is a Dutch lace braid, which means we only add hair from one side. I'm on the left side, which is not the hair, not the side that we add hair to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cross it again, take the left section underneath the middle section, because we're not adding hair on the left side, we're only adding the hair on the right side. And now I'm ready to put in my first section. Now, when I'm holding my hands, I don't know if this will help, you can hold it however it feels most comfortable to you. But when I hold my 3 sections of hair, I have this left section wrapped into my pinky finger. It's kind of in the crease of my finger like that. So I have my left section there. I have my middle section pinched between my thumb and my pointer finger. And then I usually put this section on the top of that. And so now I'm ready to pull a section of hair. When you pull a section of hair, you want to use the very tip of your comb and a very, very small slither piece of hair. But you're going to drag the tip of your comb from the front of her head all the way back to that part, because you want to collect the hair that's all the way back to that part. And that's going to add to your right hand section. Again, it's a very small section right up here at front, but once your sections get a little bit bigger, it's a little easier to see. So then you're going to take that right section, cross it underneath the middle section, and now we're ready for the left side that we don't add hair to. So we're just going to go ahead and cross that left section underneath the middle. And while you're doing this, you're still pulling back towards yourself so that we're right along the part where we're braiding. And now we're ready to add another section of hair. And we're going to add a section to that right hand side, and then we're going to cross that whole section underneath the middle, and then the left side doesn't have anything added to it, so we will take that left side section and cross it underneath the middle. Okay, and now we're ready, sorry, I know. And now we're ready for another section to add up here. You're going to drag your comb all the way from the front of her hair all the way back to that part. And then you can smooth out that section. We're going to take that and go underneath the middle section. And then the left side underneath the middle section. And we're ready to add hair to this section again, to the front. Now, if your hair is starting to dry out, if you're taking a long time, or if you're just practicing or whatever it may be, you can get it wet again. Take a little sliver all the way from the front, all the way to the back to the part, smooth it out, and it's gonna go underneath the middle section. And then the left side is gonna go underneath that middle section. Now you can see that we're starting to have our little braid right here. It's a little tiny braid. And the more hair you add to it, it'll probably get a little easier for you to see which piece is which piece. So we added that section of hair that we pulled from the front to the right section. We're going to cross it underneath. And then the left side comes underneath. Now we're ready to add hair. I'm going to do a few more stitches of this, and then I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So we just added that section to the right side, and that section is going to go underneath the middle. And then the left section is going to go underneath the middle. And there we go. And I'm going to do one more stitch, and then I'll speed it up to the end here. Okay, so we've added that section of hair to the right stitch. The right stitch is going to go underneath the middle. And the left stitch is going to go underneath the middle. And we're making our braid right here along this part here. Now, if you have a daughter that has a lot of flyaways or bangs or really short pieces up here, I'm actually going to pull that little part out, but you can use hair wax. This is the hair wax that I sometimes use on Sophia, but you can use any hair wax that you can find at the store, and make sure their hair is wet, and then put a little bit on there before you start, and that will help with the flyaways. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit until we get to the end of this braid. Again, you're just adding hair from the one side into the right section. And making sure the whole time that we're pulling tight after every stitch, you pull it tight. It should be a very tight braid right here. And that you're also pulling the braid towards yourself, kind of at a diagonal back this way, so that the braid will braid along that part line. You want to make sure too that you're grabbing the whole section from the head, from the forehead all the way back to the part. If you don't get the hair that's back here and you're only grabbing pieces from the front, you're going to confuse yourself. This hair back here is going to get tangled into your strands and it's going to get really confusing and really tangled. So you want to make sure that you're pulling that into the braid also. And now when you get to about this point right here, I'm going to get her a little bit more wet. When you get to about this point on her head, like maybe just right above her eyebrow, you want to start pulling the braid more this way rather than this way, because you'll leave a big gap right here whenever we add it into the ponytail if you're not pulling this section really, really tight. And this one, when you're getting into this, about this placement, you got to make sure you really give those a good tug and make sure that there's no bubbles right here, because we don't want it to be poofy when it's in the ponytail. So these have to be really, really tight right here. And you just keep braiding all the way down until you run out of hair to braid. Okay, one more piece in here. And then when you run out of hair from your section that you were braiding from in the front, then you just do a regular braid down. And this is just a regular braid. This isn't Dutch, French, anything. We're not adding anything to this hair. And when you get down to about that far, it doesn't really matter. Then you're going to grab, a hair tie, a little tiny rubber band. Tie that off there. Okay, so this is the first part of the braid, and because I don't want my videos to be super long, I'm going to stop right here for this one, and then the next video will show you how to do the bun part.